I do have a vague memory of one of these like sort of meme chains. It was just various like promotional pictures for animated movies where the celebrity is just stood like
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
look
yeah.
cool in
And their
front of a
animal is
picture
either
of the
like huge or small.
it looks so fucking weird.
What was that like
Like
weird
they're
vine
friends.
that like remember that movie about the like the Yetis? And then it was like Zendaya is Michi.
Oh, Zendaya is Michi. That was so fucking good. I remember how I have no idea why, but I remember this thing on Tumblr about how mad conservatives were about. There was just some like conservative blog complaining about the Zendaya is
Yeah.
Michi video, and then like this is why fucking liberal SJW feminist humor is so baseless and fucking cringe, and everyone was like, oh, so you're just mad that Common is Stonekeeper,
Yeah, it
and
was it was like yeah, it was Zendaya is Michi and LeBron James is Gwangi. That was that was it. Wait. Should this be our cold open?
is this our cold open? It can't be, can it?
It could be.
This is what happens when you don't plan the
Yeah,
cold
I
open.
love how we were like, we should have a cold open. Like, we
I
should
had-
plan
I
something
had cold
else.
open ideas, but this is what it became. I can't believe it.
Okay.
We fuck up for like a whole week, and then welcome back. Welcome to Vamonos Podcast, a Breaking Bad fancast. Join two obsessive bisexuals as we dissolve each episode in strong acid for 2 hours and sift through the gore for gay subtext. Heads up, this podcast contains strong language, mature themes, mature women, and spoilers for the entire show.
How are you? How are you this week, Dom?
I'm getting by.
Is that a double entendre?
What did I say?
He said I'm getting by.
Oh.
But we should introduce ourselves quickly. Okay.
Okay. Can I introduce myself first and you just like go along with it? I have an idea. My name is Dom, yo.
Wait, what did she say?
My name is Dom, yo.
As in Del, yo.
And we're the hosts of the freaking podcast, yo.
The freaking Vamonos Podcast, yo.
Don't you ever listen to my husband's podcast again.
Yes, we are Dom and Del of the Vamonos Podcast. I am Del. My pronouns are she, her.
I'm Dom, yo. My pronouns are 42069.
My pronouns are represented the ABQ. What up, biatch? Leave it alone. Oh, we have so much. No, like we have so much to get into in this episode.
Oh my god.
Okay. So if you didn't
Okay.
if you didn't know until now, we are covering the season 1, episode 2 of Breaking Bad, Cats in the Bag. So this episode was directed by a man named Adam Bernstein. He also directed 7 other Breaking Bad episodes, including ABQ, which is the season finale of season 2, and Box Cutter.
Mm-hmm.
And the entire episode alone is written by Vince. And I feel like what I feel like in this show, Vince's favorite episodes are just like when the plot is like super minimal, so you just get these insane one-liners. Like I do sense that this is like a thing that Vince likes to do when he does solo episodes, and it shows because some of the most iconic moments of the season are in this episode. So before we begin breaking down everything like we usually do, Dom is gonna hit us with some trivia. Am I right?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm going to hit you with the first bit of trivia
Mhm.
about the episode is that until when you started talking about the writing, I'd completely forgotten that I was going to do this. And
I thought you said you knew that by heart. Literally the other day you were like, I can say the trivia on the fly, like it's no big deal.
No, I was just going to like go on there and read it like
I
I
mean, you
actually
could do
did
that.
end up doing. So I think technically
Are you on IMDb?
actually, you know what? IMDb's trivia about this episode is fucking atrocious. Yeah, I'm just gonna read it. I'm just gonna read the two pieces of trivia that they could think of. I can't believe there's nothing else. According to this My Shout page, Jesse lives on 9809 Margot Street. 47 out of 56 found this interesting.
No, there's one bit I saw in the goof section, and apparently, you know the bit where Walt is giving all the like stuff to Crazy 8, like he's rolling the toilet paper and stuff.
Oh yeah,
There's
I
like
fucking love that bit.
there's like a part where the camera kind of goes like this, like it shakes, and it's because apparently a member of the crew walked into it. That's the only little goof that I know about this episode.
Oh, sorry. The other piece of trivia about the episode is that it picks up immediately after the first episode.
Oh yes, it does.
Very useful. Thank you, IMDb. It does.
Oh,
do you want to just like jump into that?
Yeah, let's just quickly jump into it because I think that what I do like about this episode is that like again like because not like a lot happens, but like it's nothing like super thematic happens, so it's just like shit going down.
Yeah, at the moment they're just sort of dealing with the consequences of the first episode.
So the episode opens with the god-awful cacophony. The god-awful cacophony that is Skylar and Walt's post-murder lovemaking. And it's just the most...
I feel like lovemaking is a...
Yeah, coitus.
I feel like coitus fits.
Post-murder coitus. Heterosexual coitus. And it's just nasty. It's just one of many uncomfortable Skylar Walt sex scenes that we have to look forward to in this show. Walt is so sweaty. Like
he's extremely he nearly dies.
Yeah, he pretty much like has a little like aneurysm or some shit. Like he like
this literally nearly kills him.
He fully is like literally like going to evaporate. Like he's just so soaking like sweaty. So they have sex and then Walt like just stumbles naked into the bathroom and then like passes out on the floor, I guess.
Classic
like,
Walt.
Yeah, classic Walt. And I just first of all, I'm surprised Skylar just like forgot. Skylar was like, oh well, I'll deal with this tomorrow.
She went back to sleep because it was so disappointing.
Like, she went back to sleep. She's like, Walt? Like, and then she...
He's like, you know what?
She didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, it was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going back to bed.
Then, we kind of flash back to where Jesse and Walt were in the desert when their caravan was still like, or their RV was still like in the little ravine thing.
I really like this scene as well.
Yeah, and I wrote Walt frantically destroys the videotape, and I said he could have just deleted the file. More proof that Walt has no respect for other people's belongings. He was just like for all we know, Jesse's like, you know, high school memes could have been on that video file thing, but he's just like fully just goes rabid dog, and it's also just so funny because it's like how serious he was in the last episode of like, oh my god, and then he just went, shit, quick, throw it away, don't let people know I was a little bitch.
all the dumbest things he does in this, like the most important things that he does is that he throws some stuff away. He throws away his mask and fucking nearly gets him.
Oh my god.
He throws away the videotape. Jesus Christ, thank God like they didn't know how to retrieve data.
Yeah. Back in the day. I guess they still don't, but I don't know how that works.
Oh, apparently it takes an awful lot of destruction to really completely wipe all
Mm.
of the data off something like that.
So then they end up asking like a Comer buyer Native American man. I assume he's Native American. He could be South American. I have no idea. I have no idea. He doesn't say any. He has no lines of dialogue.
Because he has nothing to say that would like ever. He just stands there because he doesn't believe a word. It's amazing.
Yeah, this is the thing. I think it does serve the story that he's just looking at these two white guys like, all right. But also in Hollywood, they don't pay people that don't have dialogue. So whenever I watch this, I just think about how he probably didn't get paid for that. And I was like, oh, sadness. But he truly was acting his heart out. Like, just that disdain.
It was an extremely
the look of, like,
good performance.
It really was. It's just like, it made me remember it seasons later, where I was like, this is one of the funniest parts. Like, he was truly their hero. And what did he get? Wet money.
He just looks down at the wet money like, man.
Walt starts like spinning these stories again.
It's a really bad story.
It's really bad, but the way that Walt tells it, he is a storyteller. Like, he's an entertainer, and he knows how to just... Like, it's not believable at all. Everyone can see through his lies, like, 80% of the time. But, like, there's something about his charisma. Like, he's just like, oh, golly, oh, gosh, like, I spilled coffee all over my pants.
Spilled coffee all over my dang pants.
Meanwhile, Jesse's eyes, like, exploded.
Manic Mondays, am I right?
And then the wet money is truly... What is it? Is it just, like, some... chemistry shit that's spilled all over in the van?
I think it's all just like the chemistry juice.
Yeah, that's the chemistry juice. Yeah, like, and it's like sticky. There's like a viscosity quality to it where I'm like, how is this little man gonna get that out? Like, and he just looks at him like,
I mean,
like, and
okay.
yeah. So then, yes, and Crazy 8 and Emilio's bodies are still in the back of the caravan. They try to drive out of there, but Walt's trying to turn the ignition, but it won't start. And then Jason's like, you're gonna flood it! You're gonna flood the engine!
He's like, no, I know how to use your vehicle that I've never driven before. He's such a fucking
Walt-splains?
Like,
oh my god, wait.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what it's called, Walt-splaining, because he truly does do that. Like,
he does Walt-splain a lot. He's like,
well, this is the
there are very few times in the show when he genuinely like asks someone how something works or how to do something.
Like those Spanish women in the last season when he's asking them to clean the...
Yeah, he assumes that he's totally got this. It's endlessly entertaining.
But so he ends up screaming at Jesse, like really losing his shit, and like you kind of get a little freaked out. You're like, whoa, he's really losing his shit. And then he just gets into a coughing fit, like the little sick, pathetic man he is.
This is one of the many
Jesse's
times
just
when
like...
he's like, yeah, he gets all fucking Joker mode, and then yeah.
And then it's just cut in half by like his mortality. Like, it's just...
Jesse's just looking at him like, what the...
He's so fucking
I gotta
confused.
get out of here. I think this guy's dying. Is the exact same look that Skylar gives him right after the coitus, like...
The coitus.
The coitus.
Yes. I think those are some of the most emotionally... the strongest emotional moments are when Walt's going on his, like, tirade of, like, abusive, like, verbal abuse shit, and then it's just cut immediately by, you're dying, bitch. You're a dead man. You're going to die a sad little dead man. And it's just, like, it really hits you, because for some reason, you forget. Like, you completely forget. The same way he
forgets,
does.
Yeah. What I've just thought of, which I think is quite interesting, is that, I think if it weren't for the fact that he was, like, constantly going into coughing fits and, like, clearly you know, everyone kind of pities him at that moment. And
Yeah.
if he didn't have lung cancer, then he probably would have gotten killed a lot quicker, which is extra funny because he fucking hates being pitied, and doesn't realize that being pitied has saved his life a lot of times.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, this man. So then they end up. So then,
Okay.
yeah, I wrote Walt wants to go their separate ways. Never speak of this again, and Jesse agrees. And then they end up starting the engine, only to the realization that Crazy 8 is still breathing in the back of the RV. Very, very high stakes shit. Then Walt wakes up naked on the bathroom floor, like flashing back the next morning post-coitus, post-murder coitus. Walt is butt naked on the bathroom floor. Skylar is like, Walt, are you okay in there?
Did you shit yourself to death?
Did you And he's just like, there's something about his just pathetic ass face, bro. He's just, I'm really gonna rail in on Walt in this episode because he's just such a sad little man. No, like, it's so hard for me to believe that like men think this guy is like a fucking G. Like he's been like this so pathetic from day one.
I think that's like the, you know,
part of the appeal.
Yeah, like we get, the fans kind of get attached to him through his struggles, and then mainly like they remember their attachment to him, but the only things they remember him doing is like, whoa, he's such a badass. He blows up a building.
Yeah.
He's so cool.
Walks away from it like.
He walks away from it like do.
So then after that we get the title intro, which is
Considering how many times I've seen this fucking opening, I have no memory. I can't recreate it in my head.
I just have the Better Call Saul one in mind. That but
yeah,
this is better. Whereas like the Breaking Bad one just sounds like the beginning of a Post Malone song, and it's just like, you know what I mean?
I get it.
But that happened. So that was our cold open. Then we skip to breakfast, and look.
We had a weird bra story. I need a bell to ring for when there's a weird bra story. I hate this scene.
Yeah, we'll do it. I'll put a little bell sound effect. Yeah. Walt tells like there's like this awkward silence at the table, and Walt feels the need to fill this silence with like a really creepy story about his senior female students. And he basically says like, oh, it's like a really funny thing at work that basically we're letting the senior kids. Yeah, and we're letting the senior kids, you know, pick their own photographers for their senior photos, but some of the girls are like, you know, posing a bit more revealing, and the teachers are having to go through all the photos and kind of, you know, be like, hey, this is inappropriate, whatever.
We're being forced to look through all of these pictures of these little girls' cleavage and
he just says like even the small titted girls like
even
have cleavage.
Small ones.
What does he say?
Cleavage now. There's
and the funniest
some kind of new
bit...
brassiere.
Yeah, and the funniest bit is that it's not like no one cares. Like they're not even disgusted.
There's no stakes to this story. It's fucking boring and it sucks. It's not funny.
Like, they're not even, like, Skylar and Junior, they don't even look at him like, Dad, that's weird.
They just don't even react.
They're
so done with him from day one.
I just said, I wrote, it really shows how inconsequential everything Walt does is literally no one cares. Like, he literally spent a whole day the day before murdering people, basically making drugs, and he comes home and all he has to tell is that weird ass titty story, and no one gives a fucking shit. Like, it's just like nothing matters.
Is the story true? Is the question I'm just asking myself. I assumed it was.
Junior's a sophomore. Wouldn't Junior also know about this?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think we really see him talk to girls.
No, we don't.
Sorry, Flynn.
Sorry, Flynn. Oh, I forgot about Flynn. So then Jesse calls and pretends to be like AT&T or something
That's
like that.
actually really like quite well done. He fucking has it on the ball there. Like, just for a minute, you think that Jesse is like the competent one.
No, that's the funny thing. Jesse, like Walt, is the irresponsible one. Walt does the biggest fuck ups, and Jesse basically calls and is like insinuating that he wants Walt to pick up, and Walt does, and he says, "Crazy Eight's awake. Like, what am I supposed to do?"
And he's like, I'm having breakfast with my family right now, so actually I can't.
Is that pretty much what he says? I just wrote he says that Crazy Eight's awake.
He's quite good at like that sort of double speak that he does on the phone with Jesse sometimes, where he'll sort of, I mean, I think in his head he thinks he's doing it perfectly. Like, obviously it's like weird and off, and everyone around him knows that something's off.
So then he hangs up and just says like, he says, I'll come. He like kind of lowers his voice and says, I'll come by after school. And then Jesse's like, I can't wait till then. He's like, well, you're just gonna have to, basically.
And I don't appreciate you calling me.
Yeah, and Walt leaves and goes to school, and then
I love this.
Okay, wait, I wrote it down. So Skylar calls back the number to like check who it was, and then we hear the iconic Jesse Pinkman answering machine message, which is, would you like me to read it out? I wrote it down. Yo, 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 1 to the 4, 1 to the 4, 8, wait, 1 to the 4 to the 8 to the 3, wait, 1, 4, 8, 3 to the 3. Wait, let me do that again. Wait. Yo, 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 1, 4, 8, 3 to the 3 to the 6 to the 9, representing the ABQ. What up, biatch? Leave it at the tone. And it's the most
amazing
aggressive answering message ever. And it also is so like real of that era where everyone had like, were like, ooh, what kind of like quirky phone and message like could I leave? Like,
it was still so new. We can't blame them.
Perfect writing. It's the unnecessary charisma and energy he's putting into this. And I don't understand what he means with representing the ABQ. Like, is he Albuquerque?
He's representing the ABQ, you know?
Representing the ABQ. And then just the insert of, what up, biatch, is just like, I think it's the origin of, like, there's a big thing of, like, oh, Jesse says bitch a lot in the show. He kind of doesn't. Like he says it, like, in these, like, very specific lines, but it's not, like, a thing that he just always says.
Yeah, I think he says it, like, enough that it catches on.
Yeah, like, Gatorade me, bitch, was probably, like, the biggest one. And that wasn't even, like, wasn't that, like, some kind of, like, imaginary sequence that he was like, yeah, if I was doing that, I'd be like, Gatorade me. Like, he was just, like, explaining some kind of imaginary scenario or something.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even, like, in real time. But this was, I believe, probably the origins of, like, the Jesse and the word bitch, and how it becomes part of his kind of iconic vernacular, despite him not using it as often as we think he does. Well done. What up? Amazing writing.
Iconic.
And it's the way he says tone as well.
Look at the tone.
Yeah, he doesn't pronounce the N. He just goes tone.
Oh, we're going after Jesse Pinkman for appropriating certain cultures.
For his black scent.
I'm getting on Twitter right now.
Yeah, so Skylar is shocked.
Detective
obviously.
Skylar's right on the case.
Detective Skylar.
It's amazing how quick, like, Walt walks out the door and she immediately starts investigating, following exactly the right clues. It's perfect.
I like that she's not even, like, really that shocked. She's just a bit confused.
She's like, I'm gonna follow this up.
Yeah. She's like, that sounds a bit weird. I'm gonna fix this. Then we are transported to Walt's teaching. And he goes on this kind of tirade. Not tirade. He goes on this kind of, like, lecture.
He sort of rambles
about
on.
two things being the same but different.
Oh, yeah. And then
like,
he brings in, like, totally bums out the vibe by bringing up like birth defects in the 50s.
Yeah. He's like, one thing could really help the woman who's pregnant, but the other thing could really cause terrible birth defects. And I'm like, isn't your son like a person of disability? Like,
yeah,
he's talking about these two things, and he's like, oh, one thing, they're both the same, even though one is good, one is bad. Is it like a metaphor for like who he is, like the two sides of the law?
Ooh.
Because what I love, what I think is interesting about Walt is that not only does he think that everything he's doing is justified, like, ethically,
mm-hmm.
there are some instances in the show where he really does talk about whether or not things that are illegal should be illegal. Like, he has a conversation with Hank at some point where he's like, oh, Coke used to be legal, so, like, shouldn't that mean it's good?
Sometimes he gives me, like, really bad vibes of, like, kind of libertarians on the internet who are like, what if the child consents, though? That the age of consent in some countries is much lower. Maybe it should be lower here. I am
in
okay.
Japan, it's 13.
my I'm actually justified by this obscure shit that I'm going to use to make myself feel better.
Yeah, basically, I think there could be like some kind of thematic reference here of Walt being like, two things are the same, but one's different and whatever. And I don't know, maybe I'm reading too close into it, but it seems like there's something there. Also, a student says, hey, Mr. White, is this going to be on the murder? And it's like one of those like
weird
kind
that
of
this
like
scene on that they only do this once in the whole show.
Yeah.
They're like they do a double take hallucination guilt thing.
Yeah, that's really weird because that's like such a like a very tropey thing. Like it's super like, ooh, how do we examine Walt's guilt? And it was like, oh, it's reflecting on his student saying it. I don't know, and then they never really use that device again.
Yes, I guess they didn't really need to.
Yeah, exactly.
But
also,
he kind of leaves his guilt behind after this.
Yep. But also, that kid that says, is this going to be on the murder? His name is Bam.
His name's Bam?
Bam.
Bam.
He goes, yes, Bam. It might be on the midterm. Like,
Bambi?
and I'm like, Bam? I know, I'm like trying to think, like, is Bam short?
Bambi?
Bambi! Is Bam short for something? Bamlin? Bamdell?
Bamberham.
Like Bamberham.
Benjamin.
Bam is the victim of one of Walter White's weird hallucination like class moments. He's had a lot of like weird class moments.
Every scene that he does in school is sort of a treasure because it's like a little window into how everyone sees him, his public perception.
Yeah. And no one fucking like cares.
Yeah, unfailingly is just that this guy is a weird old white guy who cannot like talk to people or like.
And it's just no one. The people give him like his students give him like the bare minimum respect. Will interact with him in a transactional way of like, will this be on the thing that will determine like if I pass this?
Yeah, like you're my teacher, but I don't like you.
Also, the classes are huge. How many kids are in that class?
Underfunded.
30, 40? Right? So many kids in there. Like, literally, like in high school, we'd have like maybe 20 a class,
Jesus.
15 a class.
Went
Very small.
to a fucking nice school then. All my classes were like 30 kids.
So then we go back to Jesse at his place. And
okay, Jesse's trying on makeup.
Jesse, the MUA. Jesse, the MUA steps forward. And this is the thing. I guess it's his aunt's. It's his aunt's makeup.
Look.
How long has his aunt been dead? How long has that makeup been in there? Jesse, check the expiration date. You don't want to break out, especially because you've got an open wound on your eye and eyebrow.
Well, look, we've all been there when we first tried using our aunt's makeup. Just because we were curious. There's just more evidence towards my fucking like Okay? He's
I just love how Jesse applies his makeup because it's like coming from a place of insecurity, and I just think it's very cute how he's like, "Oh, my fucked up eye is so like swollen." Although later I realized it probably is because he had to leave the house.
yeah, I mean, he has to, like, cover this up somehow, even if
Yeah,
it's not very
but
well.
I like to think that he just like needed like a little self-confidence boost and just thought,
This was actually nothing to do with going out. He just, he kind of had an idea that he should probably cover up the black eye, but then he realized he kind of wanted to, experiment.
yeah, oh yeah. He goes to the drawer, moves past the concealer, finds the lipstick and the mascara, the
He runs out to
eyeliner.
fucking.
He keeps going with the
He's
eyeliner
running after
over
Crazy
it.
Eight. He's got like full Woman from Mulan vibes. Like,
From yeah. So Jesse, wait, let me go back to my notes. Yeah, Jesse is now an MUA. That's canon. Crazy Eight escapes out of the RV and starts like kind of,
just stumbling
like,
down.
stumbling down the road. Like his face is all fucked up.
He's like,
And it's just
wheezing.
scary. He looks like a Walking Dead zombie. He looks nasty. Yeah, it's pretty creepy. And it's like down a really nice like suburban white neighborhood. Like,
get this filthy man out of this nice white suburb.
Then Walt is driving to Jesse's and he sees Crazy Eight like
That
stumbling down the
interaction is
street.
so wild. He's like,
No,
hey
because-
man, hey, you alright, dude? And he's like,
And then he's like,
not you. Runs into a fucking tree.
I know. Oh, I just love, what makes them funnier? There's no music.
There's
Like,
nothing.
it's silent.
It's completely.
It feels like you're there in real time, Like, it's just like, there's just like this weird, like, suspensefulness about how there's no music. Because it's just nothing. It just feels like it's just all happening at once.
Yeah.
Walt then grabs him and puts him into his car and
Bundles
brings him
a
back.
man into the back of his car in broad daylight.
No one sees
Very
it.
smart man. Good
And
criminal.
I just said, this is another example of how Walt gets away with a majority of his actions due to his white privilege. Because what the fuck? Like how?
That's gotta be dumb luck as well, though, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they kind of go back on that when they get someone call the police on Chuck in Better Call Saul. But you're right, like, damn boy, I'm just out there shitting the bed, broad daylight.
So then we're back to Skylar the detective. I literally wrote Skylar the detective. She finds Jesse's entire information and website by just reverse searching his name and phone number.
I think this is very smart detective work of her, because this is like a website that I assume people know exist, but probably don't use very often. He's remarkably easy to find. Yeah, I think there are things that you can do if you look up numbers. I'm assuming his numbers linked to his website or something. I don't know how things worked in the 2000s.
Yeah, I just put I put like, why would Jesse have a Captain Cook website?
Because
he's so stupid.
He is, as Walt might add, so stupid.
And then also connect it to his main like landline phone number.
I don't think he thinks about like adults or his family or anything ever getting involved in his life. Like his answer phone is purely for his mates. You know what I mean?
No, I just think it's so funny because like he makes such a big deal. Like, I don't eat where I shit. Like, bitch, you like compromised your home phone number and your name and your face. There's photos. So really, like, Skylar is a better investigator than the entire DEA, because they could have just Googled Captain Cook and his entire website would have popped up.
They're like, oh, we're looking for a fucking meth chef called Captain Cook. What if we Googled it and found this website? I'm going to read out this whole first bit. Oh no, I haven't actually read this properly, so this is... Okay, Crystal Ship, Captain Cook's. Cool picture of Jesse, like, status.
What would you call that? Like drying your hands?
As a white person, I would say gang signs? Several question marks. Status. Single, baby, single. Here for hookups. Body type. Lean and mean. Ethnicity. I'm totally cool with ethnics. Black, Mexican, whatever. As long as you're smoking hot, yo.
I thought he was talking about himself. he's lean and mean.
He is? I don't know actually. Oh shit, I don't know. Maybe he is lean and mean.
Jesse is, just because Aaron Paul is quite lean and, quite mean.
He is, his body's lean.
Well, in New Zealand, mean means like cool. So maybe it's translated into some kind of Albuquerquean slang.
I think lean and mean just sort of, lean, mean cooking machine.
Is that what it wrote?
No, but that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, the main takeaway here is that he's totally cool with ethnics.
Good for him. We love a
ally.
An ally. We love a diverse king. And open-mindedness. We do love it.
As long as you're smoking hot.
I just love how the music immediately starts. And do you remember when everyone used to make websites like back in the day, and people would put like fucking MyChem like as soon as they open the website?
Yeah, so there's like funky music going on, and she's just like you might as well have had like a fucking Vine quick zoom into her face as this happened. It was so
and
beautiful.
Then she reads like MILFs. What is the MILF
okay,
bit?
yeah. I've got the general interests as well here. For starters, you gotta she scrolls through a bunch of pictures of like naked women, semi-naked women, a drawing that he'd done of a semi-naked woman with a katana. Like early on they established that he's got some art skills there. General interest. Fine herbage. Keeping it real. Juroki Kung Fu. Blue belt with Shuriken certification. Banging the skins with my smoking band. Twat Hammer.
Oh my god, I didn't realize that
European motocross. Plan to attend wheelie school in Vegas this summer. MILFs.
I didn't know that they planted Twat Hammer this early in the show. Oh my god. And then Skylar says, MILF? What's a MILF? And I couldn't decide if that's also trying to establish that Skylar is in fact a MILF, and part of the comedy is that she doesn't know what it is, even though she's
finding out that she's a MILF in real time.
Because is she a MILF? I think Anna Gunn is beautiful, but like, is Skylar a MILF? You know what I mean? Two different things.
It is. I'm tempted to say yes. She's cool enough for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. We all know she's down bad, and and she likes older men.
There are a lot of guys who like kind of go after her as well.
Yeah, that's true. A lot. Oh my god. She is
shown in the show to be desirable.
Yeah, she's very desirable. I agree.
I think that makes her a MILF.
Skylar is a MILF. You know who I wanted in this episode at least once? Marie.
There's no Hank and Marie in this whole episode, is there?
I can accept a lack of Hank because we do get a lot of him. I miss Marie. There's something about Mrs. Kettleman in Better Call Saul that just I want Marie, because I just love Marie so much, and for some reason I just felt like this one like a little bit of the
Marie.
Yeah, but
a little bit
she's
Marie
not
in
here.
there.
So then we go back to Jesse's place.
Oh, sorry, one more thing.
Oh yeah.
Education. Wynn High School, Divry University, Data Systems Management. The streets, yo!
Jesse's so interesting because he's like not white trash. Like he's like from a quite well off family, and he just like is, has chosen a certain path and then is quite a successful drug dealer and I guess cook. Would you say drug chef? No, a cook.
Drug manufacturer.
A manufacturer.
Mm.
And yeah, he really subscribes to this kind of like quote unquote white trash like personality, and it's so
he's
funny.
very into his like hoodvine moments.
Yeah, it's hilarious because I think it's so real that like boys even now, like in some form, white boys will appropriate some form of like street culture, quote unquote. And it's just, I love that Breaking Bad is just like so in touch with that in Jesse's character, because he just thinks he's the fucking coolest person in the world. And part of me likes that. Part of me likes that Jesse just has this amazing sense of grandeur about himself. Like, he's just like, I am schooled by the streets. Like, that is not, like, that is a fact about me that I want to share with others and brag about it on my website.
He thinks he's hot shit, and I think, like, it's a great way to kind of bond him and Walt together, because the main, like, source of both their comic relief is their, like, fucking ineptitude when it comes to, like, their social status. Like, they both think that they're hot shit sometimes, and no one really cares. Like, when he goes in and meets Crazy 8, and he's like, yo, you should get that dog to bite cops on the balls. And he's just, like, looks at him like, my dog will kill you right now if you don't shut up. Like,
oh, it's so good. So then we go, so we're back at Jesse's place. Walt and Jesse are trying to figure out what to do with Emilio's body and with Crazy 8. And then Walt, like, randomly starts
he's a businessman.
Yeah, he starts to, like, try and, like ask Jesse if Crazy 8, or I guess Domingo now, because he is Domingo in Better Call Saul, if he has the capacity for reason. And I think this is just another example of Walt's just, like he tried to kill him. Like, it's, like, really violently kill him.
He's really trying to, like, worm out of it. Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, perspective. Like, I get he tried to kill you first, like, fairs. But, like, you like, he's, like, half dead, you know? Like, I don't think he's ready for that. And even Jesse's like, are you fucking insane?
Jesse's like, oh yeah, please don't hunt down and kill my whole family. We'll just call it square. He knows what's up, but Walt will not admit it to himself.
Then Crazy 8 wakes up. They put him in the basement, and they hear him kind of through the, like, AC unit thingies. I don't know.
A lot of tension in this bit. That, like, grate that leads down there. Yeah.
And I think it's so funny that Jesse does, like, this little spiel where he goes, yo, if it were me, I would have done this. And that kind of sets the sets what course of action. Yeah. And Jesse just goes, if it were me, like, I'd be doing all this shit, bro. Like, I would. It's so funny. And I just think that's one of the funniest bits about it. Really, like, I don't know if this is the right word, infantilizes Jesse's character a lot, because he's just like, I like it though.
Jesse is just like a dumb kid at times. I think, like, we're treated to a lot of these moments when it's like, oh, Jesse's so dumb, but in retrospect, you're like,
he's like 20 Jesse... or something, isn't he?
Yeah, he's like barely a grown up. He is not ready for any of this, and he's been plunged into the deep end. He doesn't deserve it, and he's not ready. He was
blackmailed into it.
Yeah, he was blackmailed into, like, this shit, and then immediately, like, I don't think he's never really hurt anyone before. Like, all evidence leans to the fact that he's just a low-level drug guy who hangs out and is an idiot, but is completely harmless and nonviolent.
Yeah, and I just love that.
Walt
he's just
fucking
like,
turns them in a murderer.
He's just like, if it were me, I'd be doing this, if we'd be doing that. So then Jesse ends up getting a bicycle chain, like, lock. And he...
Smart thinking. There.
Yeah, I know, Jesse. Oh my god. So then he's tested out on himself, and then he puts it around Crazy 8's neck. And I wrote, he looks so proud of himself. He, like, does it, and then he, like, kind of, like, looks at Walt, like, that's right, I thought of
we
something.
Fucking sorted it.
Yeah.
He's not gonna crawl around anymore.
Oh no, so then they're in the kitchen, and they're like, oh, what do we do? Like, and they kind of come to the conclusion that they're gonna have to kill Crazy 8. And they're like, oh, how do we decide to do it? And Jesse's like, I'm not good with dead bodies, bro. And I'm like, thank you, Jesse. Like, most of us aren't. And then they decide to flip a coin, and it's just like, there's one thing that is really prevalent in this first season of Breaking Bad, where like they'll have like a kind of dong like line of dialogue. So like they flipped it, and then Walt loses, and he has to kill Crazy Eight, and he goes, best 2 out of 3, and it's like, and then it just like, you know what I mean?
Just a little like before the ad break little sentence, like a little bra moment to keep you sated.
So yeah, Jesse wins the coin flip, the coin toss, and then Jesse ends up going to the store to look for the containers.
This is a scene when, this is the first point where I'm like, oh, he's a bad teacher.
Just explain why he needs to use the specific containers. It's literally...
Yeah, it wouldn't have been that hard. You're a good teacher. Is it too late to change this to the What a White Hate Watch podcast? Like, that's what it is, isn't it?
It really, I mean, Breaking Bad is a Walter White hate watch. Like,
it's all What a White Hate Watch, baby.
Like that's what I find so funny. Like I'm convinced Vince hates Walt. Like, he's just the worst, and that's what's so fascinating about his character, is that he's just a fucking little bitch. Terrible teacher, terrible father, terrible husband, terrible brother-in-law. Like, he just sucks. Like, he's really bad. And there's an opportunity, like, Jesse's like, why do I have to get these specific polyethylene containers? And Walt goes, you're not allowed...
you failed. Yeah, you failed my science class when you were, like, 16, so I'm not going to tell you again. You already missed it.
Exactly. And it just
feels superior.
It bothers me so much. And, like, you could have avoided so much. Jesse's obviously struggled academically. He's asking you a genuine question because it's in his best interest to know about science.
He doesn't want to cut a body in half.
And then he just goes, I'm going to tell you. Oh my fucking god, it pisses me off so much.
Right.
Walt, this is one of the funniest and I think best, like, visually compelling scenes of this episode. Walt starts to, like, look for weapons to, like, conceptualize how he's gonna kill Crazy Eight. And
it's such a good insight into his brain.
It's so good. Every time he picks something up, you get the image of how would he do it. So, like, he picks up a hammer, and for some reason I can see him
he's like
thinking about, wait, how would I
Yeah, he's like swinging the hammer around like, could I? No, I couldn't.
It's just like, knife. I love it. And you know what I really like? I thought they were going to do like a cheesy, like, detective, like, insert shot of, like, you know, like some kind of Edgar Wright shit, like, like insert of him, like killing Crazy Eight with all these weapons, and be like, no, I don't like that one. But instead it makes you develop that image in your mind about Walt. Like,
it kind of makes you use your imagination, and I like that. It was also a really great little bit of visual storytelling when he gets the gun out of the bag and, like, he's, like, looking at the gun and he's like, damn, could I? Do I know what I'm doing? And I'm thinking, man, it's gonna make such a loud noise, you dipshit. And then just, like, pan over to the bag.
Yeah. It's just, like...
It's fucking sweet.
I love it so much. It's one of the strongest parts of the episode is just, like, him being a fucking dumbass, trying to visualize and conceptualize how he's gonna commit a murder.
Okay, alright. I know we hate Walt White in this house, but I think this is fairly relatable stuff. If you were trying to murder someone, you'd be like, what? Knife? No. What if this? No. I don't know. The thing that sets us apart from Walter White is that we probably wouldn't have ended up choosing our weapon at the end of the scene.
Yeah, so then I wrote, he goes down to shoot him with the gun and drops the plastic bag. And then he kind of decides, like, maybe I should, like, try and, like, pamper this guy. I don't know what was running through his mind. He just, like...
He goes down with the bag and he's like, alright, I'm gonna do this. And then Crazy Eight's awake. and there's this horrific moment of eye contact and realization when Walt realizes he can't face this man and kill him right now. Yeah.
So yeah, he ends up giving him some provisions. He gives him a grilled cheese
He
sandwich.
throws down. I've got this written down, like the list of stuff he had. He's like, he just like slides him off some water. You get like this whole shot of just Crazy Eight's reaction as it happens as well, which is really, really good. He like slides over the water and then some more water, and he's like, okay. Sandwich, interesting. A bucket, right. Paper just like rolls across, and he's like, fucking hell, man. And then the hand sanitizer, and at this point he's not reacting at all. He's just staring right at Walt like, you fucking kidding me, man.
I love it. That was the bit I said earlier where some camera assistant walked into the camera. So the camera kind of like shakes when he rolls the toilet paper across. It like wobbles a little bit. I just love
because
it.
The toilet paper's really heavy.
It's super like, yeah. It's just super comical. Like it's very camp, that bit. Like visual comedy, like you feel the awkwardness with the toilet paper roll. It's such
good comedy.
Yeah. It's very, very good. So then Walt then ends up smoking weed because he's like really anxious.
He rolls the worst blunt I've ever seen.
One of the things that was like a goof on IMDb was
yes, I've got this already.
Yeah.
Goof, character error. At 30 minutes, 10 seconds, an intelligent man like Walt can't figure out how to roll a joint. Mean and rude. Fucking didn't... You did need to lean into him that.
We get some flashbacks about Walt in later episodes when he was involved in Grey Matter. He was kind of like a cool dude. Like, he was a good-looking man. Like, people respected him and his intelligence. There's no way Walt's never smoked pot. At least once.
Apparently not.
Like, what the fuck? How does he have no clue how to... Even, like, wouldn't old men, like, know how to roll a cigarette? Like, surely that would be his generation.
He's never smoked at all. Like, I think... I mean, if he's ever smoked weed, he's, like, one of those kind of, like, sad, edge-of-the-group kind of bitches who kind of, like, your friend rolls it for you and you just sort of chip in occasionally.
Anyone in particular you're talking about?
Yeah, you never...
Just for people who are listening on Spotify, Dom pointed at themselves.
This is not an admission of guilt. This is not an admission of guilt.
Yeah, he just has difficulty rolling the spliff.
Difficulty is a fucking understatement. I've realized I need to talk about this scene more because it's so good. He wastes a lot of paper and a lot of weed on this. He's like, how do I fuck? And it breaks, and he's like...
And he like licks it really grossly.
He licks it weird, and then he puts two bits of paper together and rolls them, and then he lights it on the stove like a fucking cartoon character. It was just so good. And then when Jesse walks in, he's just like fucking reclined by the window, just like fucking just smoking into the air. Fucking Matty fucking smokes out here. It's amazing.
Matty smokes. Matty fucking smokes.
Matty fucking smokes.
That is like, that might be a deep
the
cut.
ABQ.
Walt is like reclined back. He's smoking. Jesse comes home and thinks it's the most hilarious shit ever. Like, honestly,
it is the funniest shit ever.
It is the funniest shit.
Mr. White smoking weed. That's so good.
And then he realizes that he's gonna try to smoke his weed, and I totally get why Jesse's pissed, because Jesse's been like really thinking about like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna have to fucking cut this guy open.
He's been out all day like trying to figure out how to fucking melt a guy. He's been buying acid and thinking about it all day. He gets home
and fucking what? It just, from his perspective, it looks like Walt has. Yeah. From his perspective, it looks like Walt's just been at home, like smoking. So I honestly get the frustration when the team member doesn't want to do anything. So
yeah, and you know, in Walt's defense, he hasn't just sat around smoking weed. He's also made a guy a sandwich, and given him supplies.
Yeah, some provisions. So then, what else did I write here? I said Walt suggests cutting the body in two, and then I wrote, Walt suggests cutting the body in two. Jesse replies with, I don't suppose you could kiss my ass? And then I said, very Kids Bop insult, Jesse. Like, it's just so tame. It's so funny. I don't suppose you could kiss my ass.
I do like their rapport in this episode, because they're so, like, they're bouncing off each other a lot in this. He's like, I don't suppose you could, you know, put some of him in one barrel and some of him in the other. I don't suppose you could, like, fucking, you know, wipe this down. You know what I mean?
They are a married couple.
Beautiful.
One of them, their marriage is healthier than Skylar's and Walt's.
You know that ain't true. Anyway.
This is one of my favorite parts of the episode. I know they say that whenever anything happens in this episode, but this is truly one of my favorite scenes. The pregnancy appointment.
Oh my god.
So
is he still high in this scene?
I think so.
I think he is, right? Like he's
so.
Like, whoa, the miracle of life, man. Like, it's so good.
So Walt and Skylar are at their pregnancy appointment, basically checkup, and it's revealed that they are in fact having a girl. Not gonna lie, look, I don't want children, like remotely, like I don't want kids. Whenever I watch anything where people are expecting a baby, for some reason it always makes me cry. I don't know why. Have you seen that movie What to Expect When You're Expecting?
No.
Do you know that format of like rom-coms where it's like the Love Actually format where it's like a bunch of storylines and they like interlap?
Oh yeah.
There's like been lots of iterations of that. There's like Valentine's Day and New Year's Eve and stuff. What to Expect When You're Expecting is that, but it's about a bunch of mothers that are pregnant and like how
like
their world.
It's like a pregnancy Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, no, like it is, and in my opinion, it's the best. I think that's the best version of that like structure. Like it's just so emotionally effective because they all end up giving birth at the same time, and one family adopts, so they adopt all at the same time, And when I watched that movie, from the beginning, I'm like, God, I'm never fucking having kids. I'm never getting pregnant. By the end of it, I'm like in tears sobbing. Like, there's something, I don't know why. I'm like, it's a little baby.
I guess it must be like wired in our brains to kind of find it wonderful. Or maybe we just, I don't know.
There's just something about having, I mean, this is a very like heteronormative take, but there's something about having someone that is half you and half the person that you love so much, and having that be another person that in your life. I don't know. Like I'm literally.
Can I call that a problematic take? You were just like my child is an extension of myself and my partner.
No, it is a problematic take, which is why I'm never having kids. It is a problematic take. It still.
I don't want to have any extensions of myself. There's enough of me already, and I hate it.
That's why. I just feel so emotional whenever there's like a pregnancy scene. So when like Skylar and Walt go like, oh, it's a girl, and then Skylar starts getting emotional, I just like get really teary. I don't know why. It just happens.
It's kind of a beautiful scene because it's one of the only times when they're shown like happy together.
Yeah, it's just so sweet. So, however, it is then fucking ruined because Walt's an idiot. So then what is Scott?
Guy's like,
wait.
Who's Jesse Pinkman?
No. Before this, no. There's one bit before that where I can't remember what Walt says, but I think Walt was like, I can't wait. I'm so glad it's a girl. Like, perfect. I really want a girl. And then Skylar makes a kind of like weird comment. But I can see its purpose in the thing, where Skylar says, you remember that when she's 16 and starts dating.
yeah, but don't forget, you're a misogynistic bastard.
And then the reason why I do like it is because it makes Walt realize, I'm not going to be alive to see my daughter turn 16.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to survive long enough to be a real misogynistic bastard to my teenage son. My daughter's never gonna experience that.
Is Skylar the type of mom to get Holly like a onesie that says like, does this make me look fat on it? You know what I mean?
I think Marie would buy her that because she'd think that Skylar would want it, but neither of them want it.
Or like, do you think when Junior was born they got the like lock up your daughters.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Oh, I think they might.
Yeah, they definitely have that vibe. Like, of just have those really weirdly, like, straight, like straight couture, you know?
Hank would think it was hilarious. Walt wouldn't actually, like, see anything wrong with it, and Skylar would just go along with it because she's forced to be so passive in her marriage.
So then, speaking of Skylar being passive, she then confronts Walt about Jesse. Walt kind of plays it off like, oh no, She fucking catches him off guard, and I love this scene. It's actually my favorite scene. No, this is a good scene. This is a fucking good scene. It is a really good scene.
She fucking, like, she homes it in like that, like the bit, you know, the detective confronts the suspects, you know what I mean? Fucking rattles his cage, and he's like, he deals me pot.
Yes.
What are you gonna do about it? And she's like, who the fuck do you think you are, white boy?
So Walt lies and says that he buys pot from Jesse. And the entire scene is hilarious.
No, you don't. You steal pot from Jesse.
Exactly. He lies so much. Even his lies have lies in them. But he says this line, and this really
like this.
He says, mm-hmm. I kind of not yet. I'm really taking my time on this scene because I love it. He says, I've been buying pot from Jesse from Pinkman, and then Skylar's like, pot? What? And then he goes, I kind of like it. And I wrote, it's the most honest Walt is about his own behavior. Anytime Walt has to spin a story, there's a fragment of truth in it that he uses to support his lies. And when he says, I kind of like it, I want to imagine he's referring to that, like, feeling of, I cooked and I killed them, and, like, because that's what he's talking about. He's like, I'm doing that. I kind of liked it. And he's so honest about
in terms of, like,
that.
the writing, that is what he's saying, I guess.
That's what
Although
I mean.
you cannot deny he's also high as
Yeah,
fuck.
he's also high as fuck. But I like to believe that he's referring to... Okay, my recording stopped. I don't know where... I'm pretty sure it just stopped recording. But I just want to go back and say that bit again, just in case. So, yeah. Well, do you have the actual line written down?
No, but it's something along the lines of, like...
So he says, like, he turns to Skylar and he just
I
goes...
love you.
Yeah.
But... And I you know, we do a lot for each other, and we have a really great relationship, but what I need you to do for me right now is to climb out of my ass. Can you do that for me? He
says, like, can you do that? Can you do that for me? And it's fucking... I wrote the incels cheered. Oh my god, we have a my bitch wife moment.
Oh, it is a total my bitch wife moment. Hold on, I've got it. I've written down my bitch wife doesn't want me to smoke fat doobies, and that's
my bitch wife. So I think this is our first my bitch wife moment in this episode.
It's a my bitch wife moment.
First and only, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So it's just fucking hilarious. I think my favorite Waltz is when he's just unapologetically just a dick. Like, he's not even trying to hide it. He's like, can you climb out of my ass? Like...
like, the whole illusion of him being a patient and kind man just falls away because he doesn't have the patience to do it at the moment.
Climb out of my ass.
Which I thought was hilarious when I was 15.
There's, like, a Joe Pesci quality to it. Like... Like Joe Pesci in Goodfellas.
There's a Pesciness to it.
Yeah. So then, I just wrote Walt is teaching again and sitting in on a test for that next scene. It's just an insert. Teacher. Yeah, it's an insert of him being a bad teacher.
He's so out of it. He's just randomly is like, stop, and everyone looks at him like, what do you mean?
Then Jesse gets high and decides to drag Amelia's body out of the caravan and gets about halfway, like almost just past his car, when he is interrupted by Detective Skylar White, who decides to pay him a little visit.
Oh, this is such a
Can
good
you
scene.
can
The
you do this scene for me?
The
Because-
humor. I've only got one bit written down, but yeah, he's literally like the body is wrapped up in some tarp behind his car.
The shoes are
she's-
poking out, and it's
Yeah,
like
and she's at the gate, like she just like wanders in, and he's like, "Fuck!" He also caked, and he's still got the foundation all over him.
Yeah.
Fucking killing it. Wrong shade, but
it's
who
a bit
noticed?
dark. It's a bit dark.
She's like, "I just want to talk," and he's like, "You gotta get the fuck out of here right now, man." And she's like, "Don't touch me." So she's already like,
She's like, "Don't touch me," and he's like, "I'm not touching. I'm not touching."
"I ain't touching." Yeah, it's a beautiful scene. But when she's like, she's like, "Who
My
are
name is
you,
Skylar
yo?"
White.
My name is Skylar White, yo.
As in, wait, what is? I wrote it down. My name is Skylar White, yo. My husband is Walter White, yo.
I love Anna Gunn.
I love
it's
her
wonderful.
so much. Wait, this is a Mrs. Kettleman moment.
By which I assume you mean Out of Touch Girl Boss.
This, yes, like, and the thing is, she thinks she's so above him. She's like, "My name is Walter White, yo. My husband is." I mean,
she's got this
Skylar White.
condescending
Sorry.
white privilege quality. Yeah,
Yeah.
very middle
And
class.
I just love it. And then Jesse's just like, like, just still,
He's like-
he's just freaked out about the body. Like, he doesn't have
he's-
time to like
the
be
fact
really.
the fact that this isn't going where he was expecting it to go is like got him totally floored, and he doesn't know what's going on right now because he really thought he was busted. Especially when she's like, "He told me everything," and he's looking at her like,
Yeah.
"What the
He's
fuck,
like,
man? I'm
"Everything?"
dead. I'm dead." And
He's shitting
then she's like,
himself.
"Yeah," and then she's like, "Never sell pot to my husband again." And the look on his face, 1,000 Oscars. Absolutely fucking phenomenal. I love this bit.
It's so good. It's just, and he just does this like side eye thing, like,
He's just-
okay. It's like he's looking at
Words
the camera
can't
on The
fucking
Office.
describe it. Yeah, like, it's literally like like confusion, cringe, annoyance, and relief at the same time, where he's
It's
no idea what he's at right now.
Insane. I love it so much. And then Jesse just kind of goes with it. Good on
He's
him.
like,
I'm so
"Okay."
And
And she's like, "And maybe you should
Yeah, she
clean
gives
up
him,
your
like,
app.
some
Get a
advice.
job somewhere else." And he's like, "Okay, I'll do that. I'll get a real job." And she's like, "Okay, bye." And
I think this is the Skylar doesn't see Jesse in person until like season 5, I think, or 4, until they have that
she certainly
dinner.
doesn't see much of him, no.
They don't hang out again until they have that dinner in season 4 or 5. And yeah, so it's just brilliant. It's a beautiful scene. Jesse then lugs the body into the house, up the stairs, but it falls back down the stairs. Like it's like thump, 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 like it's thumping down the stairs.
It's horrid. Like,
Also, I just realized in my background, you can kind of see Jesse's like fucked foundation eye.
Oh yeah, we
Like-
didn't have a chance to really analyze
Yeah,
it. You know
we
what?
didn't talk about my background.
Boy's got some skills.
Yeah, he's got the coverage. He's got some blending.
He has Has he? Hey boy, you used a blender, girl?
He's an MUA. We talked about. We established this. Jesse Pinkman.
It's one of those little
MUA.
egg things.
So, he manages to get the body into the bathtub. I like the way they did the shot where Emilio's face like is pressed up against the glass.
Oh yeah, is that one of the first like glass surface
Yeah,
GoPro
I think so.
shots
They
that
have
they
quite a
use?
few in this show. I really like it. That's probably the first one. Yeah.
GoPros on things and then shot from below from some kind of glass is a wonderful visual staple of the show. It's so nice, and
Very nice.
I really like it.
Good soup. And then, I said they did the shot with the transparent bathtub. He starts pouring the acid into the tub, and he starts gagging, and then he goes on this kind of like weird little rant where he's like, "Oh, Mr. White, what you, like he's just like complaining. Like I couldn't think of an exact thing he says, but he's basically just kind of talking aloud to himself because he's also high. And he's like, "Your fucking wife showed up in my house, Mr. White." Like, it's just, he just goes.
Why are you making him sound like he's from the Bronx? Like,
I don't know. That's kind of what
Hey,
he
Mr.
sounds
White, I'm so sick of your shit. Your wife's in my house. I'm dissolving bodies over here.
I'm dissolving bodies over here.
Hey, I've got bodies to dissolve.
I think we're at the end of the episode now. This is the last bit,
and
which
then...
has been so. Walt stops by again. He's like,
he learned this kind of clears the air up for a lot of things because now Jesse knows that that Walt's brother-in-law is a DEA agent. That's a big deal. His wife showed up onto him immediately. He's like, oh, first little hint into the fact that this man is completely incompetent. Confronts him. Walt has none of it. It just fucking bounces off him because that's how he be.
Yeah. And then Jesse just kind of goes like, "I'm the one that didn't just sit around getting high. I barely got him into the bathtub."
Oh.
And Walt's like, "The bathtub?"
Did you say bathtub? Yeah.
And Jesse goes, "Yeah, why would I spend money on the containers when I had a perfectly good tub upstairs?" And then they kind of hear like a little sizzling noise.
Yeah.
And they kind of walk around the corner into the hallway, which is directly underneath the master bathroom. And they see just like some red fluid just dripping, dripping.
I hate that.
Down the drain. That was a Hamilton reference.
For fuck's sake.
It's just dripping through the ceiling and onto the ground. And just this look on Walt's face is like, oh my god.
The gloop's out there.
The gloop like dripping from the ceiling.
It's grim. It's already grim.
It's
and you
already.
think that's gonna be it.
I thought when I first watched it, like originally, like years ago, I thought they were gonna be like, and then walk up the stairs and find it in the bath. The fact that when they're looking at it,
right in front of them,
the entire ceiling caves in and collapses, and a giant fucking pile
just
of
a fucking
Emilio.
mess of gore. Yeah,
It's Emilio all over the ground.
It's Emilio soup special today,
Soup.
and you can't avoid it.
Oh no, soup special. I mean, Captain Cook, but
Oh.
but it's like, yeah. So, Emilio is all over the ground. He's all gross, and makeup department well fucking done. Anytime there's like intense gore on the screen, I'm always like, it's just the makeup department doing their very best. Like that's how I justify it. I'm like, it's okay. The makeup and SFX people are really talented. It's real disgusting. My background right now on the call is their faces when they see it.
Their bra moment. The biggest of the show so far.
What, biggest bra moment so far?
You drop a few bra moment sound effects.
I'd say so.
Please.
I'd say so.
It's a bra moment.
It's insane. So apparently looking at the goofs on IMDb, there is a lot of like scientific inaccuracies to do with this
apparently
scene.
they got the wrong acid or something.
Yeah, and then Waltz is like, it's a strong acid when actually it's a weak acid, and like...
Yeah, I always thought that it wasn't that bad. Like, we used hydrochloric and hydrofluoric acid in science. And one time I got some of it on my hand. I was fine.
And that, like, Like, there's another bit on the trivia, on the Goofs thing that says, like, Walt, what was it? Oh, yeah, if the acid would need to be, like, purified or something, and that if it wasn't purified, then Jesse's eyes and lungs would be, like, completely destroyed by the fumes alone. Like there's just a lot of shit that they left out. I totally get that would annoy some people, especially because the whole concept of that scene being as shocking as it is kind of built on the fact that Jesse made a scientific mistake. You know what I mean? However, I don't care. The scene is amazing.
It's really funny, and the acid that probably would have worked would have been unpronounceable.
Yeah. And I just love it. It's disgusting. It's shocking. It's just truly, like, you're right, the biggest bruh moment.
Okay, no, I'm looking at the fucking, yeah, I'm looking at the Goofs again, and no high school chemistry classroom would ever have hydrofluoric acid or gas masks. And then the large bottles of acid grabbed by Walt from the chemistry lab are prominently labeled in all caps, hydrofluoric acid. Like it's like Acme hydrofluoric acid in a fucking cartoon, which is a nice visual for me.
So I don't care about some of the scientific inaccuracies. I get how it could be like a bit of a cheat. However, the emotional payoff is just amazing. It's so funny. It's so shocking. It's just, especially when you already know very little about chemistry and whatever, as I think most viewers were going into this show back in 2009. It really doesn't matter because it's just the miscommunication between these two characters, the constant withholding of information between the two of them just results in the worst shit. And I think this is just a beginning of that trend, because that is something that happens over and over and over and over again in the show.
The shit communication really is the true villain of this fucking thing.
No, Walt, we're still an anti-Walt podcast.
Damn, almost tricked into saying that Walt was.
And I do believe that is the end of this episode. It kind of ends on that note.
Yeah, he sort of looks at Jesse with, like, he has horror, and then he turns around and the horror's gone and he's just smug as fuck.
It's insane. It's just, especially because it's funny because Jesse makes such a big deal about, like, you know, this is my home, like, I want to keep...
He doesn't care at all. He doesn't give a two shits that Jesse's home has been fucking destroyed.
Yeah. Do you have any final notes on this episode before we do worst part, best part?
Only that I didn't think about the worst part, best part again. Maybe
you
I
never
should make
do.
a note. I never do. It's all the best part. Okay. Worst part for me, I'm gonna say the little classroom scenes. I don't think they were totally necessary. There were probably better ways to establish his guilt. I think it was just a stepping stone to bringing the show into the full fucking force that it was later on. Yeah, it didn't really add much. Most of the scenes, they like,
it didn't reestablish anything we didn't already know about Walt.
Yeah, you'll gain more stuff, and I'm also upset that there's no appearance of Chad at all.
No, he's been replaced with Bam.
Who the fuck is Bam? I don't care who Bam is. I need to know what Chad's up to and how he's fucking, like...
Do you think it would have been funny if they made, like, a recurring character?
I wish Chad showed up more. I miss Chad. It was such a great, like, pilot character
Chad.
to immediately establish how, like, pathetic Walter White's life is. But we never get to see Chad again, and... yeah, I miss Chad. Justice for Chad.
And what's your best part?
Actually, what's your worst part? Flipping the table on you.
Well, mine was what yours was, which was the classroom inserts. Specifically, that bit where he goes, so is this going to be on the murder? I said, is this going to be on the midterm? Because that's a very, like, specific storytelling device. That's very tropey. And it's just like, I think there could have been other ways to show Walt's guilt and how he's afraid that what he's doing behind the scenes would like compromise his quote unquote like real life. And I just think it was a little cheesy. But if I'm gonna do something like that, I just like gave me a bad taste in my mouth and just felt really weird, would probably be Walt's weird like titty story. Like that's
the titty story is a close second.
It's just like it's like just it's just so weird. Like it's yeah.
I hate it so much. It's a really great scene because it illustrates things.
It's just funny because
I don't want to actually acknowledge any of the things it illustrates because it's so. If you read into it too much, I can no longer even like this character at all.
It's funny because he doesn't even say it in kind of like a fratty way. Like if Hank, like I picture Hank telling the story. He'd be like, so yeah, this happens. Like he would tell it like that.
And also, like, the problem is that Hank would probably think of some way to... Like, there's a setup to this
bringing Shania
joke
Twain.
story, but... So all the girls that show too much cleavage, we're just not going to show their picture. I'm getting all their pictures replaced by pictures of Shania Twain.
That's actually coming up, I think, maybe in the next episode or the episode after the next. Because it happens when Walt tells Marie and Hank that he has cancer.
He's like, Shania Twain's mother had cancer, but she pulled through, so you've got
No, he does bring it up in a really weird way. I don't know how.
This is it. I'm establishing a running gag where we pretend that there are more Shania Twain references.
No, like there's only like 2 or 3 in the whole show, but I just like the
You're
idea
wrong.
that
He makes more references to Shania Twain than he ever does to being in the DEA.
I like the idea that Hank is constantly trying to think of ways to naturally work Shania Twain into every conversation he has.
Always thinking about her.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, it's Walt's weird titty story is just, it ain't it. It's really creepy, and he doesn't. It's because he says it in such a matter of fact way. He has no like nuance or like humility in it. He goes, yeah, he's just and then and also because he tries to tell it to like fill the silence, and I'm like, you couldn't have thought of anything else to say.
This is the worst possible thing you could have said right now. It sucks so bad.
And then no one cares.
Yeah, it's like he's like, oh, I have a funny story. It's not really a funny story. It's just like there's a setup to the joke and there's no punchline.
It's like a weird anecdote. But like,
yeah, it goes nowhere, it achieves nothing. I hate you, Walter Hartwell White. You fucking shit. Get him off the stage.
So, and then we forgot to mention that Junior like brings up the Wonder Bra as well.
Oh yeah, Junior knows what it is, and he doesn't, and it's...
Fuck, so that's one of my worst part.
No wonder Skylar like spends so much time just like pretending to be a passive person when Walt's there, just because she just cannot be asked to deal with his fucking bollocks.
Okay, should we do our best parts now?
Okay, yeah, best parts.
Yeah.
My best part obviously was like basically everything that Skylar does. Like this episode is rife with really good Skylar stuff. Like her immediate like investigation of the AT&T phone call that was obviously sus, and then she goes on his website, she finds out what MILFs is. We get an off-screen like character development where she finds out that she is a MILF, and she really like gained some like newfound confidence. Then she confronts Jesse, and like there's a body right there. She has no idea what's going on, but she's sure as hell doing her best. I love her. And the ultrasound scene, really good as well. Like she holds her weight there. She's having like interesting stuff going on. I really enjoy her in this, and I forgot, like, I only until my second watch did I realize just how active she is and how how quickly she's fucking onto him. Literally, like, second episode, she knows something's up and she's already on his tail. Like,
she's not just like sitting around being like, I wonder what's wrong with Waltz.
yeah, like it takes several episodes before the DEA ever gets involved, and like. She's way ahead of the curve, Detective Skylar.
Well, she knew to Google. The DEA didn't even think to Google.
They never do that and go like, hey, how come you're like, we know that there's a fucking meth cook called Captain Cook. Why have you got a website where you say you're Captain Cook? Let's arrest him. They don't never comes up again. The DEA ain't shit, man. Just a bunch of idiots with tactical vests.
Amazing. Skylar, the investigator Skylar, truly is a lovely addition to the show.
I fucking love her. Go on, what's yours then?
Alright, my best part, it's gotta be the fucking voice message. Cause fuck, it's so good. It was between that and when Walt says, can you get out of my ass? Like, those two. But it's gotta be the fucking voice note, the voice message, because it's so good. It plays perfectly when Skylar's just like she...
It's the perfect spaghetti to throw at Skylar's wall, because she's just there to react to it, and we get to watch it in full. It's amazing.
Amazing, best part.
Alright, yeah. Fucking banging episode.
Great episode. I loved it.
Skylar, loved basically like every character was killing it. Apart from you, Bambi. And
just wanted to say that I am relocating to a different country where the time zone is a little tricky. So future episodes might be a bit sparse depending on whether we can get time to record, but I don't know, I'm pretty flexible whenever, like, we can figure it out, because I love doing this. This is literally so much fun to do. I love talking about Breaking Bad and just having
dunking
a laugh
on
about...
Walt.
Dunking on the main character any chance we get. But tune in next week or next episode where we cover Better Call Saul, I suppose.
Yep. We'll be covering
Better Call Saul season 1,
that.
episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I had so much fun. Please follow us on our social media, which will be linked literally everywhere, because I can't be bothered remembering the URL right now. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening, everyone.
And Vamonos. Wait, we should say it at the same time.
Vamonos, yeah.
Vamonos.
Wait.
Vamonos.
Wait, okay.
I'm gonna find out one day I'm not saying it properly.
Vamonos. Should we say...
Vamonos.
Yeah. Wait.
Vamonos.
Okay, yeah. No,
all right,
we said it at the same time.
We said it a few times. Jesus Christ. All right.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.